Shout out to SpitItOut and Of The Red. I'm Polly Courtney, and this is my book, Feral Youth. I'm going to read the first page, and there are some people who do this a lot better than me. The best one is Deanna Roger, so I want to shout out to Deanna Roger and the whole team who helped make the book trailer for Feral Youth. Reggie Bell is dead. He was 17. JJ says we saw him get shanked last night, but really and truly, I didn't see nothing. It was all just a blur of hoods, a mad whoosh in the darkness. I heard it though. Reckon half of South heard Reggie Bell die. It was the kind of noise a cat would make if it got stretched and stretched till it snapped. Then nothing. JJ says that's when Reggie died. He says the blood was leaking out of his body from the slit in his neck, and when there was 2 pints all over the road, that's when he died. JJ knows about things like that. He learnt more stuff in young offenders than I learnt in the whole of year 10. Alicia? I keep on ripping strips off my exercise book, watching the tiny curls float their way to the floor. Alicia! I let out this big sigh and drag my eyes up to Mrs. Page's face. When it comes to jarring teachers, Mrs. Page ain't the worst Pembury High, but she's up there. Why do you think George shot Lenny at the end? My shoulders lift up and I let out this long, loud sigh. The rest of the class is watching, waiting for me to say something rude. 'Cause he was a pedo, miss? Laughter travels round the classroom. I smirk, getting back to ripping strips off my book. I'm nearly at the margin now, which is filled with jaggedy biro scribbles. Alicia, that's not funny. Mrs. Page stares at me, her head sticking out like she's one of them long-necked birds. Do you know who George and Lenny are? Have you actually read this book? Yeah, I lie. I ain't read the book. I got about 3 sentences in, and then I gived up because the page was filled with complex words. Honestly, I thought this Lenny man was wrong in the head because Mrs. Page kept banging on about him stroking rabbits and such. That's why I said he was a pedo. It wasn't even a proper joke. Then I'll ask you one last time, says Mrs. Page, staring me out. Why do you think George shot Lenny? I ping my ruler against the desk, trying to come up with a good reply. Jokes is the best way. I ain't going to be one of them losers who just stares back at the teacher like a goldfish, saying I don't know. You do that, you lose all your respect. 'Cause he was pissed off with Lenny's jarring questions, I say, making a point. Right, that's enough. Mrs. Page does her crossed arms, pouty mouth thing at me, while another laugh ripples round the room. And what is that mess on the floor? She's losing it, I can tell. I just sit there and watch as she flings her arms about, eyes rolling in their sockets as she jabbers on. Truth is, I don't see how this book is going to help me live my life. Is it going to give me a flat? Is it going to bring in the peas so JJ don't have to go thieving for wallets at food at night? What's the point in talking about made-up killings in the made-up book when there's real ones going on down the road? Mrs. Page don't know nothing about blood and shootings. Reggie Bell's lying dead on a slab right now, bled dry through a slit in his neck. Knowing why George shot Lenny ain't top of my priority list. If you want to know more about Feral Youth, then you can see me on Twitter at Polly Courtney and visit my website at www.pollycourtney.com.